Welcome back, Vigorous Steve, to the channel. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me again. Happy to be here.
Great. So let's start with first one. How to optimize your TRT into what you called before a super TRT. So make it even better, stronger. So what can we add that is still healthy and that could make it even better? So I'm thinking DHEA, pregnenolone, Primo maybe, I don't know. You tell us.
This is the TRT and Hormone Optimization YouTube channel. And if you want to learn all about the science-based information on this topic, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell, and you'll be on your way.
Yeah, so there's several ways what I consider like super TRT, or so basically complete hormone replacement. So the TRT stands for testosterone replacement therapy, right? And then people transition into hormone replacement therapy, which is not only testosterone, but it's all the hormones. So you can replace DHEA, you can replace or add pregnenolone, testosterone, obviously. Even guys with chronically low estrogen levels might add in a little bit of a dermal estrogen, like an estrogen cream, which is typically not used by men. It's used by ladyboys who wants to transition from men into, ladyboys, right? And they use it on their breasts and stuff. But I even know guys who have chronically low estrogen levels, even on hormone replacement, and they need to add a little bit of estrogen on top. And they have things like growth hormone, insulin. So those are all bioidentical. And that's what I would consider super TRT or super HRT, where you're not only adding in testosterone and try to keep that in the reference range, but you basically add in everything and try to optimize the balance between all the separate hormones. So those are all bioidentical. So that's pregnenolone, DHEA, testosterone, growth hormone, insulin, and perhaps, the 0.1% that needs to do it is estrogen, right? So that's five to six compounds you could possibly add. Now, Primo, even though it's FDA approved in 2 countries, Turkey and Spain, it's not bioidentical. So if you add in the Primo, it's not hormone replacement anymore by definition, but it's a cycle. Yeah. So what I'm doing, for example, I'm taking 10 milligrams of pregnenolone, which increases my pregnenolone levels to the top of the range, as well as my pregnenolone sulfate, because those levels usually decline. Not in everybody, but in a lot of people. So the adrenals, they respond to luteinizing hormone, right? So when you go on testosterone replacement, your luteinizing hormone, in most cases follicle stimulating hormone, goes down. So now your HPTA is shut down and your adrenals produce less pregnenolone and less DHEA in return. So you can supplement pregnenolone 10 milligrams per day. That's usually enough to bring the range, top of the range again. And 25 milligrams of DHEA is the same, bringing your DHEA and DHEA sulfate levels to the top of the reference range. So that's the replacement dose. It's a very low dose. And a lot of doctors will say, well, 10 milligrams of pregnenolone is way too low. You need 100 milligrams. But you might need 100 milligrams when you don't produce any pregnenolone anymore at advanced stages of age, in the elderly, right? And they lose a little bit of cognition and they need 100 milligrams of pregnenolone to sustain their levels. But in your case, in my case, it's probably not, or it's probably too much because we still produce a little bit of pregnenolone. We just want to increase it a little bit to the top of the reference range to match the testosterone that's on the top of the reference range. So 10 milligrams pregnenolone, 25 milligrams DHEA, and then testosterone. Well, I'm a little bit over the reference range, obviously, with 250 milligrams per week. But a lot of guys between 100 to 200 milligrams of testosterone per week, depending on their, metabolization of the hormones and everything, usually get somewhere in the range, upper range of testosterone levels. So now everything is at the top of the reference range or slightly over it. And depending on your estrogen conversion, and use of aromatase inhibitor dose, and your injection frequency, which also contributes, and your body fat levels, hopefully your estrogen is also at the top of the reference range, right? So that's hormone replacement. Now I'm taking 200 milligrams of Primo on top. So I'm on hormone replacement, but I have to call it a cycle because it's 200 milligrams of Primo per week. So it's, for the sake of injection frequency, I use 125 milligrams testosterone NFA on Monday, 100 milligrams of Primo, and the same on Friday. So it's injections is twice a week. And my serum estrogen level without the use of aromatase inhibitor with DHEA, pregnenolone, and 250 milligrams of testosterone per week is 73 to 75 picograms per milliliter. And a lot of people would say, oh, so it's like 1.5 times out of range. But my testosterone is also out of range. And I like that ratio. So my libido is good. My well-being is good. My cognition is good. My mood and just everything is great. And the Primo Extra, which makes it a super HRT or a cycle basically, is enough for my bodybuilding aspirations. But if you don't have bodybuilding aspirations, then I would just look at replacing all the hormones or optimizing all the levels, because when your testosterone is high, I feel that all the other hormones need to be high as well. And you can do the same with growth hormone, because you get the synergy. So even 1 or 2 units of growth hormone, which is considered anti-aging, I mean, I use 2 units of growth hormone. It's more than enough, for bodybuilding aspirations. So if you don't have aspirations to be 110 kilos and you don't train that in, heavy, you don't eat so much food, I think 10 milligrams pregnenolone, 25 milligrams of DHEA, 150 milligrams of testosterone, no use of aromatase inhibitor, and 1 unit of growth hormone, that would probably be the ideal hormone replacement therapy dose for most people, not taking into consider what the diet is and their body fat levels and their, health complications, if any. But that, in my opinion, would be a great super HRT protocol. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then if you want to enhance that, you add a little bit of Primo or Nandrolone or whatever compound people prefer, because everybody has an individual response, right?
Before we continue, if you appreciate the content we bring to this channel, check out the Amazon links in the description of this video. These are the links to the products we use, going from supplements, protein powder, pre, post, intra-workout, anti-aging cream, sunscreen, needles and syringes to inject, and so on. If you'd like to purchase one of those products, please use the direct link so that it will earn us a few cents as a tip, and you'll be guided directly to the products we recommend. Thanks in advance.
All links should work on the US, Canadian, and UK Amazon stores. Okay, we haven't talked before, and I haven't heard you talk on your channel before about thyroid. Is there anything you do with that to optimize maybe?
Yeah. So I always forget to talk about it, but when you take growth hormone, it promotes thyroid conversion, right? And especially, depending on carbohydrate intake, your thyroid conversion gets promoted as well. So by definition, if you take 1 unit, 2 unit of growth hormone, you might deplete your T4 levels because it converts into T3 at an advanced rate. Now, if you're in a caloric restriction, it doesn't happen so much because you still need carbohydrate intake and selenium and iodine and vitamin K for optimal thyroid production. So let's say your diet is okay, your micronutrient intake is okay. You take growth hormone, 1 unit, 2 units per day. You might deplete your T4 levels. So you need to take 100 micrograms of T4, for example, or 50 micrograms of T4 to sustain a normal conversion of T4 into T3, which is, the T3 is the active thyroid version, and T4 is basically the inactive version. Same as the DHEA sulfate is inactive and DHEA is active. Or testosterone and albumin is inactive. Please don't say that testosterone is inactive in sex hormone antiglobulin. Because that's still active. Yeah. That's like maybe not in the brain, but it is active in the muscle cell. That's for sure. So it's So I feel that it's good that you mention it because I usually forget to talk about it. But it's definitely 50 to 100 micrograms of T4 in this whole hormone replacement protocol is very beneficial. But you got to remember, you can't just take T4 expecting miracles to happen. Your micronutrient intake and your caloric intake still needs to be managed. But I think you're basically bringing everything to the top of the range that way. And then you instead of leaving things up to chance and nature, you just accelerate it a little bit to the top, and without creating too many side effects, because you keep everything within the reference range or close to it. And maybe if they're over the reference range, it's 10%, which I feel is acceptable. Look at it this way. When you have cholesterol, right, the maximum is 200 milligrams per deciliter. So would you be alarmed from 220 milligrams of cholesterol? You're just like, it's over, but I'm still good. Now, if it's 400, your cholesterol is 400, you're like, okay, I need to make some adjustments. So I feel, with most of the markers, there's like, like a margin where you're still safe, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah, in my opinion. So, yeah, but it's good that you asked about a T4. So I feel it's definitely beneficial. Yeah. When you're in growth.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks. And now go watch one of these videos to learn a ton more about TRT and hormone optimization.